Here's a pie. This pie represents the amount of time we have in a day. Let's assume we spend about 1/3 of our pie sleeping, another 1/3 working or being at school, which now only leaves us with one remaining third. We spend about 1/4 of our time eating, doing chores, helping others, or having a personal hygiene. So, truly, we only have 1/12 of our time, not even 2 hours for what we truly want to do. However, according to a 2022 Common Sense Media report, the average American teenager spends 6.8 hours per day watching TV, being on their phone, using social media, or gaming. This means they have no time to discover the world around them or build deep, meaningful connections. No time to reflect on their own dreams and aspirations. And no time to be present in moments that matter. To laugh with a friend, to share an idea, to be there when someone needs it, or just to sit in quiet thought, imagining what could be. All of these lost opportunities, and they would still need to cut time from sleep, education, and well-being. During my 3rd year of high school, I was endlessly scrolling on TikTok when I stumbled across a video that forever changed my life. I looked at how many hours I would spend on my phone during my lifetime, and my results were both shocking and unsettling. 12.5 years of my life. I was planning on wasting nearly 13 years of an existence that is already incredibly short for swiping and scrolling. To put this into perspective, becoming fluent in a new language, on average and depending on its difficulty, takes between 600 and 2,200 hours, meaning I could have learned between 50 and 182 languages during that time. That's almost the number of countries in the world, and I decided to spend it like this. Realizing this made me feel like an episode of Black Mirror where my phone was showing me just how much it's about to kill me. I was trapped in a vicious cycle, waking up exhausted, going to school for 8 hours, coming home to waste 5 or 6 on my phone, and maybe squeezing in 1 hour of studying if I had an urgent exam. This situation was not just critical because of its impact on my productivity, but because of its impact on my physical health, my self-esteem, and my mental health. I was completely deprived of authentic emotions. I was always exposed to the peaks of others. I had created this distorted reality for myself where the exceptional had become the norm. But the problem was not these dang phones, as some might think. It was me. A phone can be a superpower or a curse, depending on how we utilize it. It's like a hammer. I could smash myself in the foot with it or build a home. Allowing myself to become dependent and addicted was completely a choice I made. But the more I tried to break free, the more I realized this situation was normal. Everyone around me, my friends, my peers, and their parents, all lived the same senseless routine, not even knowing why we spent most of our times in schools for. So, of course, to fill this void inside of us, phone became this coping mechanism to distract us from the things that truly made us feel scared and vulnerable as youth. I started a battle against this weapon by saying no. No to burying my feelings, no to who I had become. The moment I refused to remain a wasted possibility, my path began to shift. I started getting involved in my school, socially and humanitarily, and finally felt true happiness and understood what fulfillment was compared to that toxic and artificial happiness I felt all along. However, I still had a black chip on my shoulder, something that kept pulling me back to this cycle of scariness and doubt. My anxiety disorder. It whispered, if I'm not sure to succeed, if I'm not sure I can become the more I want to be, why try at all? That's when I created Canvas. It shifted the power dynamic I had with my phone and anxiety. These things that always led me to feel like a victim were actually superpowers that helped me discover myself and my passions, win national awards, and propel myself in the scientific field. I had transformed what were obstacles for so long into opportunities of innovation. All of this was done by simply raising the bar I had for myself. I refused to settle for the standards of a normal teen dealing with a phone addiction and an anxiety disorder. I refused to accept that my phone and anxiety should be things that pull me back and use them to push me forward. But if me, a normal 16-year-old student, was able to shift as I did, doesn't it suggest that our standards for youth are too low? That we're victimizing our teens into believing they're less capable than they are? This is where our education plays a role. We need to expect more from students. I know we believe that our students are already depressed and burnt out, so how could we even ask that from them? But that's exactly the solution. When we only focus on academic success and put grades as the metric, we create an extremely toxic environment of comparison and competition. But if we stop piling on pressure and started inspiring them to push beyond these conventional norms, this change would be incredible. The bar for success shouldn't be one rigid metric. It should be something more deep and meaningful, like feelings of purpose, fulfillment, or change-making. Creating a personal definition of success would finally allow students to believe in the purpose and impacts of their actions. Students could be passionate about social activism, entrepreneurship, well-being, or chemistry, and they should all be considered good students. Schools shape more than the academics. They shape people. So, we need to help students value the complexity of their identities, what makes them impossible to compare to others. In this sense, a student that has shaped the environmental initiative of the school just can't compare themselves to one that has won a math contest. And this is the key to making all students thrive and excel in their own definition of success. After all, we're not all clones in the job market, in relationships, or even as citizens. So why do we build students desperate to fit in this way? To do so would mean integrating to evaluation criteria a personal growth. Whether in French class, it's talking with empathy, math, it's innovative problem solving, science is creative vulgarization. There's so many ways to fuse both academic understanding and soft skill development. This, teachers, will be your first change-making homework. Finding ways that stay realistic with school curriculum for your students to learn more and be more in class. Help them shine in different spheres while still in school. I hope for a world where I'm not impressive, where the type of growth I experienced is commonplace. We need to push beyond the conventional metrics of school, but not in terms of academic performance, but in the ability of students to change the world. The missing ingredient is this will to break free from what is seen as impossible, and this comes from setting higher expectations. Why are we allowing youth to accept lost potential? Why let them surrender to their challenges and defeats? We need a culture that wants and expects them to push beyond, speak up, and take action while still teenagers. And this comes from an environment in schools that foster it. One of the best examples to demonstrate how capable we are to take on more is college, or Cégep. Think about it. In just a few weeks, we're able to transform our entire academic methodology, adapt to new ways of teaching, and push ourselves to achieve so much more. Unfortunately, this is still a mentality that we only keep for the academics. But what if we translated this ability to our social life and started empowering and shifting to transform our difficulties into desires for growth? I know that if we raise the bar, they'll meet it. If we ask for more, they'll give it. And in doing so, they'll push the entire world forward. Thank you so much.